Maria's walking stick snagged on something under her porch, rusted wind chimes, forgotten since last winter's feud over snow shoveling. 52 and too stubborn to let pettiness win, she dusted them off, memories flashing of shared summer barbecues before silent glares replaced hello. Vancouver drizzle couldn't dampen her grin. Time to shake up this block. Next morning, she slapped a neon flyer on community center board, Walk and Talk Club, no drama, just sneakers. By noon, 12 neighbors RSVP'd Maria's walking stick snagged on something under her boot, again. That stubborn root near Maple Community Center had bested her twice this week. 52, she wasn't about to let a gnarled piece of timber mock her rhythm. She yanked it free with a wry chuckle, though her palms remembered younger days, when that stick had steadied her father's chemo-weary steps. Now it anchored her own mission, turning neighborly spats into sidewalk solidarity. Vancouver's mist clung like unresolved tension, but Maria had lit a spark. Her Stroll and Solve Club, born after overhearing two moms feud over parking spots, had become a movement. Tuesdays meant lacing up sneakers, gripping her stick, and herding conflicted neighbors past rosebushes and regret. Hesitant tries became breakthroughs, a shared laugh over someone's clumsy step melted icy glares. Yet doubt gnawed. What if she stumbled? Not physically, she'd mastered uneven pavement, but emotionally. Failure sounded like her mother's old sewing machine, a relentless hum of what-ifs stitching shadows into every effort. Maria refused to let that noise drown out progress. By summer's end, even reticent Mr. Chen from Unit 3B joined, nudging his granddaughter's stroller while apologizing for late-night piano practice. Maria's stick tapped a steady beat against pavement, a metronome for mending fences. Streets once heavy with side eyes now buzzed with potluck plans. And that route? She painted it neon pink, a cheeky monument to perseverance. Maria's walking stick snagged on something under her porch step, again. This time, though, instead of muttering about uneven pavement, she crouched down, knees protesting only a little, and found a rusted old horseshoe tangled in weeds. A sign, her superstitious grandmother would have said. She pocketed it, grinning. Maybe luck was finally on her side. 3 blocks over, a shouting match erupted between new condo owners and longtime renters over garbage bins. Woman had overheard it brewing for weeks. Instead of sighing into her tea like usual, she gripped her stick, sanded smooth from years of use, its nicks telling stories of missteps and recoveries, and marched toward fray. Not to scold but to invite. Walking clears head better than yelling, she announced, waving horseshoe like a peace flag. Skeptical glances bounced between neighbors but curiosity won. Next morning, 6 unlikely allies showed up community center in mismatched sneakers. Woman led them down leafy streets, pointing out cherry blossoms, and a hidden mural of jazz musicians. By third turn, shoulders loosened. A retired teacher admitted she'd never noticed tiny free library. A young dad laughed when his terrier zigzagged on its leash, tripping him into a pile of autumn leaves. Week after week, their ragtag group grew. Maria's stick became a baton, passed to whoever needed grounding. They plotted routes past stubborn puddles and grudges, detoured toward bakery with lit cinnamon rolls, even navigated a silent walk after a spat over noise complaints. Feet moved, so minds could too. Then came drizzle season. Half club bailed, but creator rallied rest with dollar store ponchos and hot cider in thermoses. Mid-slog through a downpour, she spotted Mr. Kapoor, stoic widower who'd ignored every flyer, watching from his balcony. Next week, he waited on his stoop, polished Oxford's tapping. She didn't say a word. Just slowed near his gate, leaving space. He fell in step like he'd always belonged. By spring, their walks were legend. City repaved that uneven sidewalk, but Maria kept horseshoe nailed by her door. Some said it brought good fortune. She knew better, luck had nothing to do with it. Every scuff on her stick proved change wasn't magic, just one stubborn step at a time. Woman tugged her walking stick free from tangled blackberry vines, muttering about nature's audacity. 52 years young, she'd survived 3 kids, a hip replacement, and that one winter Vancouver forgot to plow her street, yet rogue brambles nearly took her down. Her neighborhood walk club had started as a joke between friends, a way to outpace petty squabbles over fence lines and barking dogs. But after Mrs. Kowalski's hydrangeas mysteriously got trampled, allegedly by Mr. Nguyen's new terrier, creator lit on an idea, put everyone on pavement together. No agendas, just motion. Skeptics called it naive. She called it strategic. Feet moving meant mouths busy with breath, not barbs. First walks were stiff as starched collars. Side eyes over step counts, forced nods. Maria's stick became a baton of sorts, tapping rhythm, prodding stragglers, once even wedging apart two men squaring off over recycling bins. Compostable egos, gentlemen, she'd declared, earning snorts. Progress wasn't linear. Some days, she wondered if she'd traded bridge club for herding cats. Then came drizzle-soaked Tuesday when widowed Mr. Ellis, who'd ignored everyone for years, shuffled out with mismatched socks and a thermos of spiked cider. By third lap, he was confessing he missed block parties. Next week, he brought cookies. Community center bulletins soon touted their route. Maria smirked irony. Her old PE teacher once wrote she lacked team spirit. Now she orchestrated truces with sweatpants and stubbornness. That stick, carved by her late father, wasn't just for balance. It marked pace of change, slow, uneven, worth every scrape. Maria's walking stick snagged on something under her porch, again. This time, instead of grumbling, she yanked it free with a smirk. That stubborn stick had become her accidental ally. For weeks, simmering tensions between neighbors over parking spaces and barking dogs had turned their Vancouver block into a silent battleground. Maria, 52, was done with sideways glances over hedges. One drizzly morning, armed with nothing but determination and her trusty stick, she marched to community center bulletin board. With a flourish, she pinned up a neon flyer, Block Walk Club, sweat out drama, not neighbors. A bold move, maybe reckless. But woman figured if folks could gripe behind closed doors, they could also air grievances while burning calories. Skeptics scoffed. Mrs. Kowalski from Furby muttered about hippie nonsense while deadlifting grocery bags. But come Saturday, 7 people showed up, including Mr. Tran, who'd been feuding with she over recycling bins. Awkward silence hung thick until her stick slipped on wet pavement. She caught herself but not before a tiny, undignified yelp. Group erupted in laughter. Ice, officially broken. By third walk, stories spilled out, lost pets, noisy teens, that one guy who never shoveled snow. Maria's stick became a baton, passed to whoever had floor. Then came Twist, a local journalist, jogging past, snapped a shot of their ragtag crew mid-laugh. Next day, their grinning faces lit up Vancouver Sun with caption, Sidewalk Diplomacy, How One Woman's Stroll Stopped a Street War. Mrs. Kowalski, now outnumbered by converts, watched from her stoop as crowds swelled to 20. Creator caught her eye, winked, and tossed her an extra walking stick. Your turn, she mouthed. Older woman rolled her eyes, but stepped off porch. She adjusted her grip on that weathered stick, heart pounding. This was her start. Not with a protest or petition, but with sore feet and shared sweat. Vancouver's drizzle couldn't dampen fire in her chest. Who knew a little goof and a lot of guts could turn sidewalks into sanctuaries? By month's end, City Council invited her to speak. Maria showed up in muddy sneakers, stick in hand, and dropped mic without saying a word, just gestured to packed room of former foes now swapping casserole recipes. Crowd went wild. Even Mrs. Kowalski clapped. Slow. But she clapped. Maria's walking stick snagged on something under her porch, a rusty old key, tangled in ivy. She pocketed it, chuckling life's odd habit of hiding answers where we least look. That key, it turned out, fit a long-forgotten storage shed behind her Vancouver Community Center. Inside, dusty folding chairs and a banner reading, Neighborhood Walk Club, EST. Fate, she decided, had a flair for drama. By week's end, Maria, 52, stubborn as her creaky knees, had rallied a dozen neighbors for a sunset stroll. Not to hash out disputes over hedges or barking dogs, but to move. Step by step, grievances softened. A retired teacher admitted she'd misjudged teen next door's late-night guitar sessions. He joined them, serenading group with campfire songs. Even HOA skeptic, a man who'd once called bylaws sacred texts, loosened his tie and confessed he'd never noticed how pink hydrangeas bloomed along 3rd Avenue. Maria's stick became a baton, guiding stragglers, pausing conflict zones like a wise mediator. See? Mrs. Kowalski's roses do smell better when you're not yelling about her sprinklers. By summer's end, their walks had morphed into a lit mobile therapy session, swap meets for zucchini, impromptu salsa lessons, a pact to repaint faded crosswalks in rainbow chalk. That rusty key now hung around Maria's neck, a reminder, sometimes you just gotta walk awkward out. Grab your shoes. Peace starts with a single step,